to be able to afford one child.
This is Anthony D, and welcome to another.
Everybody on their own path.
Yes, as Anthony said, I am Janika Duncan.
All right, this is Anthony D, and welcome to another episode of the Youth Code, where we spend time just through simple discussion, talking with the young people, the millennials, and the Gen Z, and we're trying to get an idea of their mindset and their perspective on various topics. And today, we're into big people business. We want to talk about the whole idea about moving into adulthood and what that has looked like, what the experience has been like so far. And, it have some seniors like myself might probably saying, we wish we could go back to our childhood days, But we want to see what the millennials and the Gen Zs have been experiencing and hear from their perspective what adulthood has been to them over the little time. For example, the Gen Zs, they're now getting into that sphere of life. The millennials are around a little longer. All right. But before I introduce our guest today, I did a little bit of a research, and in some cultures, in some countries, there are rituals that are usually done that more or less introduces young people into that sphere of adulthood. Even in some cases, there are things that in the lives of young people that is used to mark their transition into adulthood. So, for example, I was looking at there's a community in Australia. There is something they call a walkabout. Now, let me give you a quick idea as to what this thing is. It says that the term going walkabout refers to wandering aimlessly. However, in the Australian Aboriginal culture, a walkabout is much more than that. It is a sacred ceremony in which a boy becomes a man. As a test of his bravery, boys between the ages of 10 and 16 must venture into a scorching outback for up to 6 months. 6 months, a man had to work to become a man. Without modern navigation instruments, no phone, that is pressure for some of the young people in the Western culture for sure. And or weaponry. The adolescent must hunt for food, build shelters, and then find their way back home after this temporary exile. There's another ritual, but this one is in Ethiopia. It's called cow jumping. Boys of the Hama tribe in Ethiopia's Ono Valley must go through this peculiar centuries-old ceremony to prove they are worthy of starting a family. Around October, men determine whether their sons are up for the task or not. So you see that kind of a sort of a relationship here between the adult male and the younger ones in terms of actually recognizing whether these guys are ready and able to step into that veil of becoming a man. A Hispanic tradition. Now I'm gonna try some. I'm gonna see if I'm good with my Spanish. It's called Quinceañera, right? In many parts of Central and South America, young girls celebrate their Quinceañera when they turn 15 years old. They refer to it as a coming of age tradition. When the young ladies turn 15, and it typically begins with a Catholic mass where the girls renew their baptismal vows and solidifies their commitment to their family and faith. Immediately following mass is a fiesta where friends and family eat and dance. So what we're seeing generally in these cultures is the general idea that there are rituals, there are practices, there are customs that are used when they are identifying this movement in the lives of their children, the adolescents, and they're moving towards some form of adulthood. Now, in Trinidad, in the Caribbean, do we have these types of rituals? Do we have customs? Do we have things that actually identifies and says to us that, hey, this young man is now a man, this young lady is now a woman? So we're going to explore that topic. So let me bring in our guests this evening and I'll allow them to introduce themselves. We have Miss Janika Duncan, and then we also have Mr. Osei Kwashi. So
Hi, thank you.
all right.
Well,
Nice. So
as
tell us a little bit
Anthony
about yourself,
said,
Janika.
yes, as Anthony said, I am Janika Duncan. I am the owner of my own small business, Vivid Expression Media, which we specialize in graphic design and photography. Outside of that, I would call myself a creative through and through because I sing as well, I rap, as well as I dabble in spoken word poetry. So yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Guys, she being very, very humble. She bad. When it comes to spoken word, You hear this young lady rap? Trust me. But thank you so much, Janika. Mr. OC, Mr. Koshi, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're up to these days.
Hi, I am Osei Goshi, 23 years young.
All
Roughly.
right.
Currently in the University of the West Indies studying sports kinetics. Going on to my third year. Love basketball, love exercise, love to swim. Currently now getting back into running the 5Ks and half marathons, and that's about it really and truly. Just love exercise.
Hey, nice man. Glad to have you guys on the inside. Now, do you all think in Trinidad and Tobago, or maybe even by extension the Caribbean, from your knowledge, from your experience, from your exposure, do you think that there are anything or things that we can use as indicators to say, well, hey, this young man is I know a big man, I know a big woman, right? What do you guys think? Janika, let me hear you.
I think traditionally, I don't think we have anything that's specific to Trinidad and Tobago that we do that signifies that. The most I can say is when you turn 18. That's when everybody tells you you're an adult.
Right. Yeah. So there's that age marker there, and
Yeah.
like, well, and I guess it's because that's what the law of the land more or less kind of recognizes.
Yeah, that and your parents might specifically add in when you leave my house.
Oh yes, for sure. That is important.
As long as you're under my roof.
Yes. Yes. I hear the voice of my mom all know. What about you, Osei? Do you think there's anything else apart from what Janika might have indicated?
I wouldn't say traditionally there's anything pinpointed towards becoming an adult. As Janika would have said, I would say is when you reach 18 and when you leave the house and start to do things on your own, that's basically it. I don't really think we have a tradition geared towards that.
So, by definition, right? There are a couple things that some definition used to identify or state that this is an adult. So one of them I have here says somebody that is fully grown or developed and they behave in a way that is characteristic of a responsible adult, and they're also able to accomplish mundane but necessary tasks. Another one says this is someone who is self-sufficient and responsible for her or his own decisions. Right? So let me ask you all this question, a little more direct. For you as an individual, all right, let me start with Janika. For you as an individual, when would you say that you felt like you were an adult?
Definitely when I moved out of my childhood home. I would say that because there are things that I had to learn, responsibilities that I had to get, like paying for my apartment, going to work and making sure that certain bills and stuff get paid because it has to. Like, I don't have anyone to lean on anymore where that was concerned. So that definitely caused me to grow up a lot because I'm like, responsibilities. Like, I used to watch my brother and sister and they still home and I'll be like, oh, y'all have it nice, boy. I wish. I wish somebody was buying my groceries and I wish this. So I saw the difference from the comforts to now being the person responsible for taking care of myself.
Okay. Do you feel like these are things that you identify, well, you know what, these are things that I have to do because I'm an adult? Or is it like in your mind you started doing these things because you're an adult? You understand? There's a little difference. The question is a little bit similar.
I feel as the first one where you feel like you'd be an adult doing these things.
Okay.
Not because you're an adult. It's just you feel like an adult because you're doing it.
Yeah. And
like he mentioned he mentioned the traveling. Now there are certain things I said that I wouldn't mention because I started doing those things during my teenage years. So it's not necessarily that it made me an adult because I still had my parents to answer to. But they started, when you reach that age, your parents would start to wean you a little bit and give you certain responsibilities or tell you have to start doing these things because at the end of the day, they have to train you up to be the type of person that could be dependent on themselves, on their own selves. Yeah.
What would you say in terms of for parents who probably might not really have that ability to understand that transition? What would you say to maybe a parent like that if they are struggling with a child? The child is 18, 19, 20, probably early 20s, and they don't know how to, what would you say to a parent like that?
You have to because what you are doing is setting up that child for failure.
Right.
Because when they actually get into the adult world now, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And that could be they could place themselves in situations that would kind of be hard to come out of, like they wouldn't know how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And you're setting them out there without any you're sending them out there, sorry, without any type of rules or know-how. And then when they have to figure it out themselves, they are usually the ones that burn to learn a lot more than
Mhm.
the children whose parents allow them to learn certain things from young.
What about pursuits in life? Things that they're trying to set up for themselves. Do you all have any similarities?
Everybody on their own path.
Mhm.
So with this, there are a few of my friends who like to open businesses as do I. So
Mhm.
I kind of lead with them on that, and we can kind of talk and converse about opening businesses and the steps to take.
Mhm.
And that's really about it with the similarities. But everybody is kind of more or less on their own path.
Okay. Outside of your friend circle, do you think that based on what you're sharing there, because I feel like that is something that I hear a lot of young people kind of directing themselves to, wanting to be managers of their own time and space and resources. Is that something that persons around your age are more focused on as opposed to probably being employed, or is it just like a select few of you all more or less?
I think most of the people outside my friend circle want to um, be their own manager, want to manage their own time, do their own thing,
Mm-hmm.
be their own boss. That's what it's more gearing towards from what I
Mm-hmm.
see, because most people don't really like to answer to people these days.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, most of us like we want to be our own employer. So
Mm-hmm.
that's basically it for me. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
them want to open their own business and start their own thing. So yeah.
All right. I'll give you all this funny story. I know this is gonna sell out my age, but that's fine. Osei, behave yourself one time. Let's put that out there one time. All right. So when I was turning 40, or when I turned 40, I have a pharmacist friend, friend of the family. So she like to celebrate my birthday and whatever and stuff. And she said to me, she said, you need to go on you need to go and do certain checks and stuff when you reach 40. I said, why? He said, well, because you turn 40. I said, so what? Everybody who turn 40 has to go and do these things. He said, yeah, it's advice. So like, what you serious? She's like, yes, I'm very serious. So some of the things she said that you'll have to go and do it, like when get your eyes checked, and there are certain medical checks and stuff that you want to do, kind of consistent, from that age as well. And what was funny is that when I met other friends around who we were sharing that same year, turning 40, and they said the same thing. They said, yeah, I had to go and start doing this and that. And I'm like, wait, but is this old people thing? No, or what it is? Question will say, do you think that there are certain expectations of you having no transition or transitioning into this adult life? And what are they?
More responsibility for myself, for my
Mhm.
safety when I'm out there.
Right.
I have that expectation to not be reckless on the road and cause accident.
Mhm.
Money management, and when you get a little money, you get a little change in your pocket, manage it properly. Don't just spend all one time. Um, that's an expectation. Like you're old enough to know here what money is hard to come by. You have to
Right.
hold on to what.
Mhm.
Um, be respectful, simple, respectful, respect your elders. Um, and that's about it for me. Just
Mhm.
be, I wouldn't say be regular, but as a person of my age, you would know what would be expected of you.
Yeah.
Like don't wild out, don't do nothing stupid, of course. You get
Mhm.
yourself in trouble, you know right from wrong, simple as that. And yeah, that's about it for me.
Janika, do you
Yes.
think that you have people still looking at you're in your 30s and saying, but Janika, you're a big woman now, what going on? We're expecting, we're looking for this. Parents probably
I
looking
mean,
for grandchildren and all kind of stuff.
I think there should be certain expectations of especially people who are 30 years old and
Yeah.
have nothing to do with lifestyle choices, but I think it
Right.
has to do with the person themselves and the way that they carry about themselves. For example,
Okay.
for me, anybody my age, even I would say in their 20s, I would give people early 20s a blight because they're still developing, they're still learning. As I say,
Right.
we every year that we live, it's our first year doing that. You understand? So we still
Mm-hmm.
gaining experience every year. But let's say from 25 go up, I expect you to have a certain level of maturity, to be responsible, and for the least have some manners.
Right.
For the
Right.
least.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what I
boy.
expect of adults. Yeah.
So, guys, what about financial independence? How significant is that for someone moving into that phase of their life, being recognized as an adult?
Very significant.
Yeah, that's super
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yeah. In what
Very.
way? How is that a serious indicator as
Well, it
in terms
shows
of being
that
an adult?
you have to be able to take care of yourself, right? And to be able to
Right.
take care of yourself, you need money because money is what we
Right.
need to buy all the things that we need to
Yeah.
take care of ourselves. So when you have money, you would be able to take care of yourself, and therefore you wouldn't really have to depend on anybody else. And secondly, it should. I don't know if
Yeah.
it always does this, but it should teach you a sense of responsibility because now you have to decide what it is you need versus what you want.
Yeah. What
Thank
about
you.
you, Jose, in terms of finances? How significant is that?
It is very important because you're at the age where you're making a little change, so all the things that you wanted, you could
Yeah.
easily get. But it also has to teach you that discipline where your needs outweigh your wants by
Right.
far. So
That's a big
you
point.
might
Yeah.
you might want a shoe, or you might want this jersey or this pants or this dress or this piece of jewelry or whatever, or you might want to go this party and you might have to say, you know what, I could go,
Yeah.
but it's really worth spending that money.
Right.
So you go your party, you line that's one night. In the morning you wake
Mhm.
up, you're not getting that money back.
Right. Yeah.
That money
Yeah.
wasn't spent on anything of substance.
Yeah.
So is that phase where it teaches you responsibility. But here what? I have the money to go to this party, I had the money to go online, I had the money to buy the show, to do whatever, but I'm gonna not do it. And I'm gonna go and organize something more important. Or you just save the money. You don't even need to spend
Yeah.
it.
So moving on from those teenage years, you're in school. You want brands. You want the clothing that have the names it.
Mm.
What do you think happens when they reach that place in life and they realize they had to spend the money on these things? Do you think that there is a change or?
Um There'll have to be a change because at the end of the day, everybody like what they like.
Yeah.
If you like what you like, if you like your brands, no problem. I have no issue with that.
Yeah.
But you have to have that switch, that mental switch where here what you want this or no, but you can't get it right now.
All right.
You have to because you can't
Yeah.
tell me you will reach a certain age and you're not seeing that okay, life is moving on. You're
Yeah.
reaching to a certain point in life where okay, you can't be spending money like how it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago on brands. That can't be
Yeah.
happening right now. You have to know, you know what, my needs outweigh my wants.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just hold back on this and maybe later on if you come across and you get to save and you handle everything you could get for yourself.
Right. Are you leaning towards the fact that there's a sense of responsibility that an adult has to move towards when it comes to you know understanding that now life has changed and there are different expectations?
Yeah, for sure. As an adult, you must be able to recognize that life has changed, things change.
Yeah.
You're no longer that 20, 23-year old, 24-year-old. You could, while out and buy all your things and buy all your shoes and your clothes. You can't do that anymore. You have
Yeah.
responsibilities. You had to eat. You
Hmm.
had to pay your bills. You had to pay your internet. You had to put gas in your vehicle. You had to service your vehicle. You had
Yeah.
to pay your rent. All those things matter because at the end of the day, you buy a shoe. You can't migrate and eat the shoe. No.
Hmm.
You can't migrate and eat the shoe. You
So
can't
true.
migrate and eat crazy. So you had to know that, okay, in this phase of life,
Yeah.
this have to stop. Nobody
Yeah.
say you can't get it, but you have to know when and it's time and place.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Janika,
Yes.
there are often times what I'll refer to as preconceived notions, right? There are things that people believe that, you know, based on your age, and just to see, like, for example, you reach that age, your parents expecting grandchildren.
Yeah.
You reach a particular. I have a friend. Well, she and her husband migrated now, and she was saying, you know, her parents were like really behind them, you know, like when it is early to start having children, and they were like, you know, we're just not ready as yet, you know,
Yeah.
because they had things, you know. Are there preconceived notions that maybe you or maybe you might have known of, that usually it exists that you had to contend with? What are they, and how did you personally treat with those type of preconceived notions?
There are preconceived notions in terms of like when you're getting married. So before you get married is when you're getting in a relationship if you're single, and then when you're getting in a relationship, when are you all getting married? And then when you get married now, when is the
When
kids coming? So it's like the
Yeah.
people I'm not even giving you a chance to
Yes,
go through
yes,
the
yes.
motions properly and
Mm-hmm.
settle
Mm-hmm.
yourself in every stage and every phase.
Yeah.
But nowadays, as of lately or presently, everybody is taking their time because there are so many factors that plays into certain things. For example, children. The other day, Cohen and I were laughing
Yeah.
because I went in the grocery and I saw they had the tin of baby milk.
Mm-hmm.
They had it locked up in something because it's expensive.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so they
that
don't
a
want people just
commodity.
taking it from the shelf. Yeah, so they had it in a
Mm-hmm.
thing where they had to unlock, and it was like 200 and something dollars. And the tin small like this, it's not even a big tin. And I'm like, you seeing the price of that?
Yeah. No,
So
that's serious thing, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to afford one child in
Yeah.
2025, like one, just
Hmm.
one, and it's expensive.
So Janika, for you, what does it mean? What does it mean to be an adult? Your perspective right now.
Just to have emotional intelligence and be mature, be
Yeah.
able to govern yourself, as I just like
Yeah.
to say. You know the boundaries for yourself. Just because just because you're able to do something doesn't mean that you should. So as an
Yeah.
adult, you have the right sense of mind to know these are the things that I should do and these are the things that I shouldn't do.
Right. Okay. How about you saying?
Um, Making your own decisions, knowing right from wrong, knowing that again what Janika said, there are things that you know you could do or you might want to do, but it'll be wrong, so you shouldn't.
Right.
Having that intelligence to know also when to speak, when not to speak. Also knowing how to treat people, because
Yeah.
as an adult, you don't want to treat people horribly, but then expect people to treat you perfectly. It don't work. So
Yeah.
having
Right.
that intelligence of knowing how to talk to people as well. I
Yeah.
have some things and seen people talk to people and it's like, yo, you cannot speak to people like that. This is an adult you're talking to.
Yeah.
I see adults talking to adults like they're talking to a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, and I was like, yo,
Yeah. That's a serious thing. Yeah.
you cannot do that as a big
Yeah.
Yeah.
woman, as a big man you're speaking to.
Yeah.
Have some
Mm-hmm.
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what being an adult is. Knowing how to treat people, knowing how to make
Yeah.
the hard decisions as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's my definition of an adult.
Nice. Nice. Oh, thanks, Mr. Wesley. Thank you, Mr. Question. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being on.